all of this pension fund fiasco is based on projections that are simply false. These projections are never going to be accurate, and quite frankly, even in good times, they can't keep up. So right now we have the stock market rising, going up from 666 on the S&P in March 2009 until today. We have, several-fold increases. So what's happening? Why have the pension funds still remained underfunded? Well, of course, they've claimed that they have this all-seeing eye, that they have a crystal ball, and they can determine exactly what to invest in year after year after year. And of course, even in the downturns, they need to be able to provide a decent return on profit. But it doesn't work like that. And the pension funds, despite the fact that these are literally billions and billions of dollars, it doesn't matter. They are not able to manage the money in order to return a profit over the long term. They were all underfunded because they make projections like 8% or maybe 7% or 6% in some cases. But the average return is probably more likely 3%, maybe 4%. And you can see that this is more likely the return, whereas they're promising something in this region. So I don't think that we should be relying on pension funds. Hey, if you're going to get a pension fund and it comes your way, that's great. You can take the money, use it for what you need it for, and go about your daily lives. But should this become a situation that, hey, you get that cut, you'll be okay. You're not going to be able to have to worry about it. Compound versus reality. A couple quick points I want to make here. Promised growth of $10,000 at 7%. You can see where it goes. However, the promised growth here, well, the actual growth, I should say, $4,000 versus $8,000. We are talking about a major gap. And the return gap you will see here in this case, we're talking about projections and we're talking about reality, and they are very, very different. It's important to note that when you look at this type of information, you need to look at, are these facts, are these solid facts, or are these projections, are these estimates? Never look at the estimates. They are always overstated. It's simply a fact. So if a person is expecting that $1,000 paycheck and they're only given $700, do you think that's going to affect their lives? In most cases, I do believe that is the case. This right here, I just want to briefly mention it. When retirees dip into principal in spend down scenario. So you're going to get to that point where you're taking out your money, and of course, it's going to lead to issues later on. And why is that? Well, they don't really cover the reality, but I want to show you something here. Spend down scenarios adjusted for inflation and taxes. So you got to pull your money out over this period of time. And they've made these calculations based on essentially next to zero inflation rates and these incredible estimations of how much they'll be able to get you on the return of profit. It doesn't really work like that, as I've already established here. Now, we can see that over time with factoring in taxation as well as factoring in real rates of inflation, the average person is not going to be able to utilize this as good as it was promised to them. Now think about this, over a 40-year period. So let's say you start working at 25 years old and you want to cash out beginning at 65 years old. That's 40 years, right? During that 40-year time frame, what do you think happens to taxes? Of course, they've risen dramatically. New taxes get created all the time. Then you have this issue where individuals are encountering massive levels of inflation, right? This is real. So take it from 1980 until today. Look at real things, okay? Real things. Don't look at inflation numbers that they give you on television or in the media or publications. No. What did a coffee cost you in 1980? What did a pack of cigarettes cost? What did the average house or condo cost? How much did a bus ticket cost? Okay? Things like this. Those are real. That's how you calculate real inflation. Now, I've heard from so many people who have told me over the years what they've paid for their first home, what they paid for their first car, and then you look at it today and you calculate the rate of inflation. That's not accurate at all. It's a fraud. It's truly a fraud. We could see that most, particularly with energy as well as food prices. It's very clear to me. Important considerations for retiree portfolios. This is from Real Investment Advice, and I want to show you this here. Currently, 75 million baby boomers in America. About 26% of the U.S. population have reached or will reach the retirement age by 2030. Unfortunately, the majority of these individuals are woefully undersaved for retirement and are, oh, this hurts, hoping for compounded annual rates of return to bail them out. We know, quite frankly, that that isn't going to happen. But people will hope. And it is truly unfortunate. There's a lot in this article here. I'm not going to get to all of it, but essentially they talk about lowering your expectations, and I surely do agree with that. If you're expecting $1,000 for your pension, it's probably going to be more like $700, and give it a few more years, it's probably going to be $500, and so on. I think that that is something that people are not ready for. And all of these projections, by the way, are based on the average American saving $1 million for their retirement. How many people do you know that have saved $1 million? The average person in the bottom 90%? I don't think so. I really don't think so. Even when you include the equity that's in their home, I highly doubt a person retiring today has $1 million. The average person, no way. Do some people? Absolutely. Absolutely. They have a lot more than $1 million. But on average, no. I quite frankly just will not accept that. So what if they only have $250,000? What if they only have $100,000 or less? They're not going to be able to live for very long on their retirement money, on their pension money. There's no way that they can ever be able to, they're switching from pension funds, these companies, over to 401ks, RRSPs, and the supers, depending on where you live. Why? Because they can't get that rate of return that they've told their employees that they're going to get. We promise you 7%, have no fear. And then the next year, something bad happens. Oh, well, I know we promised, but we weren't expecting it. Financial crisis came up, and here you are. We're only going to give you 5%. And then 4%, and then 3%, and then, oh, well, we can't really pay you now. We're going to give you this government bond. We'll pay you back later. And if many people don't believe that, understand that in the Soviet Union, they did this as one example. I heard from an individual from the Republic of Georgia telling me what happened to her. And that is a very real example. Decades later, still not receiving their money, getting government garbage bonds. That's what's going to happen. They're going to replace your bank account with government bonds. They'll replace your investments with government bonds. They don't care. They're saying, well, it's not theft. We'll give you a government bond. Garnishing wages, government bond. They'll do it. They will do it. It's not going to happen all in sync all around the world all at the same time. That would be chaos. You take from one pension fund, you take from Cyprus accounts, you take it from, you know, people in Italy, you go over to different parts of the world and you take, but you do it all at different times in different ways. And these genius plan that these technocrats have set up, it's brilliant, because even the people fight in between themselves and they don't recognize who is really responsible. They make us fight between each other and we don't know who's responsible. We're too damn busy. We work 9-to-5 jobs. We're arguing with people in traffic, road rage. We're fighting with people at the supermarket because they cut in line. We're worried about all the meaningless things in life. Meanwhile, they're doing everything to steal from us, our hard-earned dollars. They take it from us every day through the process of inflation, through taxation, through every method and scheme and scam that they can figure out, and they're doing it, and they're doing it well. And people don't have any idea what's going on. But I'm happy that you're here watching this video and you stayed to the end. That means you care. That means you're worried, and that means you're going to do your best to figure out how to take control for yourself. And I think people need to be prepared, and that is so important. So get prepared, get ready, get your finances in order. If a pension's coming your way, that's fine, but don't rely on it. That's all for this video. If you found it informative, please give me a thumbs up. Last but not least, if you found this video informative, I know that you will find my books, The Money GPS, and my newer release, Global Economic Collapse, even more informative. You can actually flip through these books. All you got to do is go over to Amazon. There's a look inside feature. It's going to allow you to flip through the pages of these books to see if you like them. Take care.